Welcome back to Monday Mod Tips. I am Captain Xavier, and today we're going to be covering the wiring diagram on the conveyor belt blasters, namely the Hyperfire, the Khaos, and the Nemesis. They all use the same wiring diagram. Next week we'll go over the Rapid Strike, which is obviously much more complicated. The basic difference between the Strife variants and the conveyor belt variants is that it has a third motor that powers the conveyor belt, and they have a second switch that, of course, activates that motor. In these blasters, we are going to be seeing motor braking on the conveyor belt motor so that it comes to a complete halt and doesn't slowly dribble down and, fire even though you've let go of the trigger. So we're actually going to start with that because that is the complicated part of this, really. And if you look at the wiring diagrams that I have posted on my Facebook page, I've got this one, the Strife with motor braking, and the Rapid Strike have all been posted there now. The purple line is the motor braking line. And the reason it's purple is because I've used red for positive and blue for negative, and the purple line could be either red or blue depending on the position of the switch that it is connected to. So I don't have purple wire, unfortunately, so I'm going to be using this yellow to represent that mixed line. And where it is going to go is from the COM on the firing switch, and it goes to the positive on the pusher motor. And the reason that it is variable is the COM is either connected to normally open or normally closed depending on the position of this switch. When the switch is not pressed, it'll be connected to normally closed. When the switch is pressed, it'll then be connected to normally open. So if you have positive going to here and negative going to here, then the output here varies depending on that switch. And that is how we end up getting the motor braking. And I will explain that a little bit further when we get to that point. So next line is we're going to do the negative circuits. And it starts by going from the negative on the battery to the negative on our pusher motor. It then goes from there to the negative on our flywheel assembly. Now I have created the assembly like this to represent that this is basically a single unit, and you will need to probably watch my flywheel video on how to wire flywheels to make sure that the motors are wired the correct way. There is no actual negative or positive on motors, but depending on whether you put positive here, or negative here, positive here, will determine the direction that they spin. So you'll need to make sure that you've wired that correctly so that one of them is the negative and one of them is the positive, and when you connect it up, they will spin in towards the barrel to force the darts out. So this is considered one whole assembly at this point. The final negative line is going to go from here to the normally closed on our firing switch, so that when the switch is not pressed, you have negative coming out of COM, which means you have negative going to both sides, and that is what creates the motor brake. When you ground it like that, the motor wants to halt, and therefore it won't spin and it will come to a halt much quicker. We're now going to look at the positive circuit. The positive circuit starts, of course, at the positive on the battery, and it's going to go to the normally open on our rev switch. The COM on the rev switch is then going to connect to the normally open on the firing switch. And the reason we wire it that way is that it creates an electric lock. So the firing switch does not get power until the rev switch is pressed. You can push this one all you want and nothing's going to happen. So you can't. Most blasters have a mechanical lock that does this. This creates an electric lock that does that. So you can't have the conveyor belt going without the flywheels going. You wouldn't want that because if you did that, it would jam. We then go from the normally open on there to the positive on our motors. And this is one you could come directly off of COM instead of coming off of here. But generally, the way the blaster is designed, it's easier to go up to this switch and then further on just because of how it all fits into the blaster. So that is the complete circuit. Now when we put our little flywheels on so you can see that things are spinning, when we turn on the flywheels, this is the rev switch. They are spinning the correct direction. And when we pull the trigger, that spins. And that one comes to a halt quite quickly because it has motor braking. It also doesn't do anything if the rev trigger is not pressed. So this, you have to be revving before the pusher will activate at all. And that is the wiring that you need for all of those blasters. It's a little bit more complicated, but not really all that much more complicated. And I will have one thing I need to create are the checklists for the wires. It makes it a little easier when I have a list that says battery negative to pusher negative to flywheel negative, and so forth. I'll have that up with the diagrams as well, if you find that helps. I actually find that it really does. I also, once again, have the diagrams. They're on my Facebook page. Check them out there. I will then have the checklist there as well. I hope this is helpful. I don't actually have any blasters that I can show you what this looks like on the inside because I don't have any of the blasters that use this wiring rewired yet. They're on my list, but I haven't got them yet. They will show up in Nerf Rewired, and you'll get to see what it actually looks like inside the blaster. But this should help you walk through the exact circuit as you need to solder them all together. As I said, next week will be the Rapid Strike, and that is by far the most complicated. The Regulator is kind of in a class all of its own because it has that select fire circuit that I haven't really dabbled in. It's technically very similar to this. There is just the select fire circuit in between the switch and the pusher motor. And that's really the only difference there. Obviously, you can't overvolt it without risking blowing up that circuit. So I would be hesitant to rewire one of those without doing a little more research, possibly using MOSFETs or, at the very least, resistors to keep the circuit on that reduced. I will be going into MOSFETs as soon as I actually learn how to do them. So stay tuned for that. I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching.